Have you ever watched your entire family board a plane to Dubai for your 40th birthday celebration? Without you? I am Sophia Miller, 40 years old. Today, I'm sharing the story of how my mother promised me a birthday gift that would blow my mind. And she was right, just not in the way she intended. While I woke up alone in an empty house on my milestone birthday, my family was posting champagne selfies from a $2,000 per night suite at Atlantis, Dubai. My teenage niece's Instagram caption read, "Grandma's treating us, Mom's boring anyway." But here's what they didn't know. 2 hours after abandoning me, they would desperately need something only I could provide. Something that would determine whether my sister's company survived or collapsed in front of 500 Chicago business leaders. My name is Sophia, and this is how I learned that sometimes the best gift you can give yourself is boundaries. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you are watching from. For 15 years, I'd been the invisible Miller sister. While Rebecca built her fashion startup and graced magazine covers, I quietly processed shipping manifests at what everyone assumed was a dead-end logistics job. Family dinners had a predictable rhythm. Rebecca would announce her latest triumph, Mom would beam with pride, and I'd clear the dishes while they discussed real business. Last Thanksgiving was typical. Rebecca stood up during dessert, champagne flute in hand, announcing she'd crossed 2 million in revenue. 30 relatives applauded. Mom actually wiped away tears of joy before turning to me. "At least Rebecca dares to dream big, Sophia. Maybe you could learn something from your younger sister." I didn't correct her, didn't mention that my boring logistics job involved managing accounts worth $890 million annually. Didn't explain that while Rebecca was struggling with 2 million, I was responsible for nearly $500 million in quarterly transactions. I'd learned that silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Not every truth needs to be spoken, especially when no one's really listening. The pattern was so established that I'd stopped expecting anything different. Rebecca was the star, I was the stagehand. She disrupted industries. I made sure packages arrived on time. In our family's narrative, I was the cautious one, the settler, the one who chose safety over success. They had no idea that Transglobal Logistics, the company they'd never bothered to ask about, was the exclusive shipping partner for 3 of Rebecca's biggest retail targets. Or that I wasn't just another middle manager pushing papers. I was the VP of operations who could make or break any fashion brand's distribution strategy with a single email. But on that March morning when I woke up to an empty house on my 40th birthday, even I didn't know how valuable my silence had become. The Dubai trip hadn't been spontaneous. 3 months earlier, I'd caught Mom browsing Emirates flights on her iPad during Sunday brunch. "Just dreaming," she'd said, quickly closing the browser. But I'd seen the dates. April 15th, 22. My birthday week. By noon on my birthday, the evidence was overwhelming. Emma's Instagram story showed the family at Mall of Emirates, bags from Versace and Balenciaga visible in every shot. Mom posed by the Burj Khalifa. Uncle Robert raised a champagne glass from what looked like a yacht. The Atlantis Hotel had given them the Royal Bridge Suite. 5 bedrooms, a price tag I knew exceeded $2,000 per night. Rebecca's post was the masterpiece. A group photo of all 17 family members in the hotel's underwater restaurant, tropical fish swimming behind floor-to-ceiling glass. Family goals minus the boring ones. Dubai, # birthday week, #Lux life. 73 likes in 10 minutes. The comments were a chorus of agreement. "Your family is goals." "OMG, the boring shade." "Some people just don't fit the vibe, you know?" Emma posted a TikTok tour of their suite. "Grandma really said favorite grandchildren only, and I'm living for it." The camera panned across the massive living room where my cousins were opening gift bags that looked suspiciously like the ones I'd helped Mom pack last week. "For my birthday gifts," she'd said. I sat in my empty kitchen, birthday cards I'd bought myself still in their CVS bag. The house felt larger in its silence, every room an echo of absence. They'd taken everything, Even the birthday cake I'd seen Mom order from Magnolia Bakery was probably being served in Dubai right now. What they didn't know was that in exactly 2 hours and 18 minutes, Rebecca's entire empire would depend on the signature of the one person they deemed too boring to invite. At 2:32 p.m. Chicago time, my phone exploded. 47 WhatsApp messages in 3 minutes. Rebecca's name dominated the screen in increasing levels of caps lock. Sophia, answer your phone. Sophia, this is urgent. Sophia, answer your damn phone now. The first voice note was 20 seconds of pure panic. Sophia, thank God, I need you to do something really simple. There's a contract on my desk. Meridian Retail, the huge one I've been working on. Just sign where the sticky notes are and scan it back. It has to be submitted by Monday 9 a.m. or I lose everything. Everything, Sophia. $8.5 million. She said it 3 times in different voice notes, as if the number might motivate me more. 6 months of negotiations. The deal that would put Lux Collective on the national map. The contract that would prove Rebecca was more than just another Instagram entrepreneur. It's literally just your signature, her voice cracked in message number 15. You can use my DocuSign. Password is Fashion Queen 2020. Don't judge. Please, Sophia, I'm begging you. She never asked if I was home. Never wondered why I wasn't answering immediately on my birthday. The messages just kept coming, each more desperate than the last, painting a picture of imminent catastrophe if I didn't comply within 72 hours. The Meridian board meets Monday. If we miss this window, they're going with another vendor. 6 months of work, gone. My investors will pull out. Please, I know we're in Dubai, but this couldn't wait. Just this one thing. What Rebecca couldn't know, was that I'd already read that contract 3 months ago, when James Crawford, CEO of Meridian Retail Group, had sent it to me personally for a preliminary logistics review. Meridian Retail wasn't just any client, they'd been TransGlobal's exclusive partner for 5 years. I personally managed their account, had quarterly dinners with James Crawford, knew his wife's name, and his daughter's college plans. When Rebecca started pitching them 6 months ago, James had called me directly. Your sister is persistent, he'd said over our February lunch. But Sophia, I need your honest assessment. Can Lux Collective handle our volume? I'd remained professional, neutral. But 3 weeks later, James forwarded me Rebecca's proposal with a different tone. I'm concerned. These logistics plans show fundamental misunderstandings of international compliance. Can you review? The problems weren't minor. Rebecca's routing through Turkey violated 3 EU regulations. Her proposed packaging didn't meet California's 2024 sustainability requirements. The insurance coverage had gaps that could trigger $2.3 million in penalties. It was amateur hour dressed up in sleek PowerPoint templates. But the real power shift had come in that March 15th email, marked confidential. Crawford had offered me a personal consulting contract, $150,000 to redesign Meridian's entire supply chain, off the books from TransGlobal. Just me. I want to work with someone I trust, he'd written. Someone who understands that logistics isn't just about moving boxes. It's about protecting everything we've built. The email thread sat in my secured folder. 3 months of careful correspondence where Crawford made his position crystal clear. He'd only sign with Rebecca if I personally guaranteed the logistics through TransGlobal. Without my approval, without TransGlobal's infrastructure, Rebecca's proposal was worthless. She needed my signature, but more than that, she needed TransGlobal's signature. And she had no idea that the boring sister she'd left behind on her birthday was the only person in Chicago with the authority to give it. Have you ever been overlooked by family because you chose a different path? I stayed silent for 15 years, but sometimes your 40th birthday is when you finally say, enough. If this story resonates with you, please like and subscribe to support everyone who's quietly building their own success. Now let's see what happens when Rebecca realizes she needs more than just my signature. 18 missed calls in 1 hour. The family group chat lit up like an emergency broadcast system. Mom's call came at 4:17 p.m. Her voice carefully modulated the way it got when she needed something. Sophia, sweetie, I know you're probably heard about Dubai. It was last minute. You know how these things go. But right now, Rebecca needs you. Family helps family, don't be selfish. Selfish. The woman who'd orchestrated leaving me alone on my 40th birthday was calling me selfish. Rebecca is building something special, a real legacy. What about you, Sophia? You're 40 now. No husband, no children, no achievements to speak of. The least you can do is be useful to your sister. The messages cascaded through every family channel. Uncle Robert's text was brief. Family helps family, period. Don't be the weak link. Aunt Marie. Rebecca says it's just a signature. Why are you making this difficult? Even Cousin Janet, who I'd loaned $5,000 to last year. Come on, Sophia, stop being petty. Then came Emma's FaceTime. My 19-year-old niece's face filled the screen, tears streaming down her cheeks with suspicious perfection. Aunt Sophia, please. Mom's crying, like actually crying. She says she'll lose everything. The company, the house, everything. You can't do this to us. Behind Emma, I could hear Rebecca coaching. Tell her about the employees. Tell her about the 20 people who'll lose their jobs. The manipulation was so transparent it was almost insulting. 15 years of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who handled everything without complaint, and this was my value. A signature dispenser to be activated in crisis, ignored in celebration. Rebecca's video call came at 6 p.m. Dubai time. She was by the pool, the Atlantis towers gleaming behind her. Someone had handed her a champagne flute mid-call. I could hear the clink of glasses, the sound of laughter. My birthday celebration, happening without me. Sophia, hi! Her voice was bright, fake. So sorry about the birthday thing. Mom insisted last minute, you know how she is. She thought you'd be too tired from work to enjoy it. Boring people don't really fit the Dubai vibe, you know? Boring. There it was again, delivered with a smile while she lounged in a cabana I could see cost more than most people's monthly rent. But listen, I really need you to focus here. The Meridian contract is on my desk. Top drawer. Security knows you. Just say family emergency. Sign everywhere there's a yellow sticky note. My assistant can walk you through the scanner if you're confused about the technology. Confused about the technology. I managed systems that processed 18 million transactions annually, but sure, I might struggle with a scanner. I've already told Meridian you're handling it, she continued, not waiting for my response. James Crawford is expecting the signed documents Monday morning. I told him my sister would take care of everything. Behind her, Mom appeared in a designer caftan. Is that Sophia? Tell her we'll bring her back something nice. Maybe a keychain. Rebecca laughed. Mom says hi. Oh, and Sophia? After you sign, could you also water my office plants? Thanks, you're the best. She ended the call before I could respond. Within minutes, another Instagram story appeared. When your boring sister holds your entire empire in her hands and doesn't even know it, high power moves, hashtag family drama. She had no idea how right she was. I opened my laptop and logged into TransGlobal's secured system. The Meridian file appeared immediately, 47 pages of analysis I'd compiled over the past 3 months. Every weakness in Rebecca's proposal documented with surgical precision. The March 15th email from Crawford glowed on my screen. Subject line, confidential, strategic partnership proposal. The kind of email that changes careers. Sophia, I'll be direct. Meridian needs someone who understands that logistics is about risk mitigation, not just movement. Your sister's proposal is aggressive, trendy, everything our board thinks they want. But you and I know it's built on sand. His offer was elegant, $150,000 consulting fee, paid directly to me. Review Rebecca's contract, identify the gaps, design a better solution. If Rebecca couldn't deliver, which we both knew she couldn't, Meridian would pivot to TransGlobal with me as the lead architect. I've watched you manage our account for 5 years, Crawford had written. You've saved us millions in compliance issues Rebecca doesn't even know exist. I need that expertise, not Instagram marketing. The supporting documentation was damning. Rebecca's proposed route through Istanbul would trigger EU sanctions. Her packaging violated 4 states' 2024 environmental regulations. The insurance gaps could bankrupt Lux Collective with a single damaged shipment. David Park from Legal had reviewed everything, adding his own notes. Sophia, this is a disaster waiting to happen. As VP, you have full authority to reject this partnership. The board will back you completely. I composed my reply to Crawford, my fingers steady on the keyboard. James, I'm available for a Monday morning meeting. I believe we should discuss Meridian's future logistics strategy in person. The gala on Saturday would provide an excellent opportunity for a preliminary conversation. I hit send. Then I leaned back and waited for Rebecca's world to collapse under the weight of its own lies. The Chicago Business Association Gala was Rebecca's Super Bowl. 500 of the city's most influential business leaders gathered annually at the Palmer House Hilton to celebrate entrepreneurship and innovation. This year, Rebecca was receiving the Young Entrepreneur Award, the crown jewel in her carefully curated success story. She'd been posting about it for weeks. Can't wait to share huge news at the CBA Gala, #game changer, #Lux Collective, #watch this space. The event details were burned into Chicago's business consciousness. Saturday, April 20th, 7 p.m. Cocktails, 8 p.m. dinner, 9 p.m. awards ceremony. Rebecca had even reserved the main LED screen for a special announcement. A surprise everyone knew would be the Meridian deal. What she'd posted publicly, Meridian executives will be there to celebrate our partnership. What she didn't know, James Crawford had personally requested I attend as TransGlobal's representative. My invitation had come 3 weeks ago, directly from him. Sophia, I'd like you at table 3 with the TransGlobal executives. We have much to discuss. The seating chart told the whole story. Table 3. TransGlobal's C-suite, positioned with perfect views of both the stage and the LED screen. Table 12. Rebecca's team from Lux Collective, front and center where everyone could see her triumph. Table 18. Meridian's board, strategically placed between both companies. Rebecca had also posted photos of her dress, a $4,000 Marquesa gown she'd bought specifically for the announcement. When you're about to change the game, you dress the part, the venue, the audience, the media coverage. Everything Rebecca valued most would witness her greatest triumph, or her most public humiliation. The choice was mine, and she had no idea the boring sister she'd abandoned in Chicago held all the cards. David Park called me at 8 p.m. Friday night. As TransGlobal's legal director, he'd become my closest ally over the years, one of the few people who knew exactly what I did and why it mattered. Sophia, I've reviewed Rebecca's contract thoroughly. His voice was measured, professional. 3 violations of international trade law. The Turkey route alone could trigger $1.8 million in EU penalties. The packaging specifications violate California's SB 54. And the insurance coverage? He actually laughed. A first-year law student would catch these gaps. The documentation was meticulous. David had prepared a formal legal opinion on TransGlobal letterhead, signed and dated. As VP of Operations, you have full authority to reject any partnership that poses risk to TransGlobal's compliance standing. The board will back whatever decision you make. By the way, he added, his tone lighter, Crawford called me directly, asked about your availability for an expanded role. Seems Meridian is very interested in your expertise. The implications were clear. This wasn't just about blocking Rebecca's deal. It was about stepping into the spotlight I'd avoided for 15 years. You know what the ironic part is? David continued. Your entire family is celebrating in Dubai with money Rebecca doesn't actually have yet. She's been floating everything on the assumption this deal closes. Without it, he didn't need to finish. Without the Meridian contract, Rebecca's house of cards would collapse. The investors she'd strung along, the credit lines she'd maxed out, the employees she'd hired on promises, everything depended on Monday's signature. 15 years, Sophia. 15 years of watching them diminish your achievements while you quietly kept half their world running. Maybe it's time they learned who really has the power here. After I hung up, I pulled up the seating chart for tomorrow's gala again. Table 3, Trans-Global Executives. My people, my world. Saturday morning, 6:47 a.m., 24 hours before the gala. Rebecca stood on my doorstep, still in yesterday's designer travel clothes, mascara streaking down her cheeks. She'd taken the red eye from Dubai. "Sophia, please." Her voice was hoarse, desperate. "I'm begging you." The Rebecca who entered my home was unrecognizable. The polished CEO was gone, replaced by someone raw and frightened. Her hands shook as she pulled out her phone, showing me her banking app. "Look at this! Look at what I've invested. Everything is riding on Monday." "I know you hate me right now," she continued, tears flowing freely. "I know Dubai was cruel, but Sophia, I will lose everything. The company, the house, my reputation. 20 employees will be jobless, their families." "Rebecca," I interrupted calmly, "why didn't you have your CFO sign the contract?" She froze. He's in Dubai. Mom invited him. She said you wouldn't mind handling it." Mom invited Rebecca's CFO to my birthday celebration, but not me. The cruelty was so casual it was almost artistic. "Please," Rebecca grabbed my hands. "I'll do anything. I'll make it up to you. I'll tell everyone how important you are. I'll—" "You told Meridian I'd sign?" I asked, my voice steady. "Yes, James Crawford is expecting it Monday. I promised him." She was practically hyperventilating. "He said he trusts our family's reputation, that Miller women deliver on their promises." Our family's reputation. Built on my silent competence while Rebecca took the spotlight. I looked at my sister, really looked at her. Designer clothes she couldn't afford, surgery she'd charged to credit cards, a lifestyle built on promises she couldn't keep without me. "I need to think," I said simply. What Rebecca didn't see. My phone screen, where I was texting Crawford, confirming our 8 p.m. meeting tonight. Rebecca's desperation peaked at 10 a.m. when she went live on Facebook from my living room. Without asking, without warning, she propped her phone against my coffee table and started streaming to her 12,000 followers. "Family, I need your help," she began, angling the camera to show me in the background. "I'm here with my sister Sophia, trying to save my company. She's refusing to help with one simple signature that would secure our Meridian deal." The viewer count climbed. 500, 1,000, 2,000 in 5 minutes. Comments flooded in. "Sophia sounds jealous. Why would she sabotage her own sister? Some people can't stand others' success. Help your sister. Family first." Mom joined the live from Dubai, her comment highlighted. "Disappointed but not surprised. Sophia has always been difficult when others succeed." Rebecca played to the camera perfectly. "I've worked so hard for this. 6 months of negotiations, 20 employees depending on me, and my own sister, who has a simple office job, won't take 5 minutes to help." "She's jealous," Rebecca said, tears streaming. "Because I built something while she's spent 15 years in the same position. 40 years old, no husband, no children, no ambitions. Just bitterness." The comments turned vicious. My name was being destroyed in real time by strangers who didn't know I managed logistics for half their favorite brands. Who didn't know that Rebecca's empire was built on credit cards and false promises. Then a private message popped up from Emma. "Aunt Sophia, I'm so sorry. I know Mom is wrong. I see how hard you work." I didn't respond to the live stream, didn't defend myself. Instead, I opened my laptop and composed an email to Crawford. Subject: Strategic Partnership Discussion, Confidential. I attached 47 pages of compliance analysis and hit send. I let Rebecca's live stream run for 23 minutes without saying a word. She grew increasingly frantic, trying to provoke a response, while I calmly worked on my laptop just out of frame. The viewer count hit 3,500. The comments became a chorus of condemnation against the jealous sister. What they couldn't see was my screen, where I was composing the most important email of my career. To James Crawford, CEO, Meridian Retail Group, CC, Trans Global Board of Directors, Meridian Executive Team. Subject: Strategic Partnership, Confidential Attachment, Compliance, Analysis, Lux, Collective, Final. PDF. James, as discussed, please find attached the comprehensive compliance review of the proposed Lux Collective Partnership. As VP of Operations at Transglobal, I cannot in good conscience approve this arrangement given the documented violations of international trade regulations, pages 12 to 27, and insurance gaps, pages 31 to 38. I confirm our 8 p.m. meeting tonight at the CBA Gala to discuss Meridian's alternative logistics strategy. Transglobal is prepared to offer exclusive terms as outlined in our March correspondence. The analysis has been reviewed and signed by our legal director, David Park. Signature page 47. Best regards, Sophia Miller, VP Operations, Transglobal Logistics. I clicked send at 10:23 a.m. while Rebecca was still streaming, telling thousands of viewers how I was stuck in middle management and intimidated by successful women. The email would take exactly 7 minutes to reach Crawford's inbox. His executive assistant would flag it immediately as priority. By 10:45 a.m., Meridian's legal team would be reviewing my documentation. By noon, they'd be drafting their withdrawal from Rebecca's deal. But Rebecca wouldn't know any of this for another 10 hours. When she stood on stage at the gala, ready for her moment of triumph. Sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Rebecca is live streaming to pressure me, but real power moves happen in the quiet moments. If you've ever faced family manipulation like this, comment boundaries below. Like and share if you want to see Rebecca learn a lesson about respect. The gala is about to begin, and everything is about to change. The Palmer House Hilton's Grand Ballroom was Chicago business royalty at its finest. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light over 500 of the city's most influential leaders. Men in custom tuxedos, women in gowns that cost more than most people's cars, champagne that ran $300 a bottle. Rebecca held court at table 12, resplendent in her Marchesa gown, laughing with the kind of confidence that comes from believing your victory is assured. Her team surrounded her like disciples, their matching Lux Collective pins catching the light. She'd recovered from this morning's desperation, transformed back into the CEO everyone expected to see. I sat at table 3 in a simple black sheath dress from Ann Taylor, surrounded by Transglobal's executive team. David Park nodded at me from across the table. My CEO, Marcus Williams, leaned over. Crawford requested you specifically at our table. Says you're the reason Meridian stays with us. At 7:45, the lights dimmed for the program to begin. Rebecca caught my eye from across the room and winked, the same condescending wink she'd given me at every family gathering for 15 years. The wink that said, "Watch me shine while you fade." The Master of Ceremonies took the stage at 8 p.m. sharp. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chicago Business Association's annual gala. Tonight, we celebrate innovation, disruption, and the entrepreneurs who dare to dream big. Rebecca was already adjusting her posture, preparing for her moment. The LED screen behind the stage displayed the CBA logo, ready to transition to whatever presentation Rebecca had prepared. Our first award of the evening, the MC continued, goes to a young entrepreneur who embodies the spirit of Chicago innovation. Please welcome to the stage recipient of the Young Entrepreneur Award, Rebecca Miller of Lux Collective. The ballroom erupted in applause. Rebecca rose, every movement calculated for maximum impact. Rebecca glided to the stage like she was walking a runway, her gown trailing behind her, smile radiating the kind of confidence that comes from never questioning your place in the world. The spotlight followed her ascent up the steps, the applause building to a crescendo. "Thank you, Chicago." She gripped the podium with manicured fingers, waiting for the noise to settle. This award isn't just mine. It belongs to everyone who believed that a girl with a dream could disrupt an entire industry. The crowd was hers. She had that gift, the ability to make 500 strangers feel like personal investors in her success. When I started Lux Collective 3 years ago, people said fashion was saturated. They said e-commerce was dead. They said a Chicago girl couldn't compete with coastal brands. She paused for effect, her timing perfect. Well, tonight, I'm proud to announce that those doubters were wrong. The LED screen behind her flickered to life with Lux Collective's logo. Rebecca's team at Table 12 started recording on their phones. Tonight, I'm thrilled to share that Lux Collective has secured a game-changing partnership with Meridian Retail Group. Her voice rose with triumph. $8.5 million that will put Chicago fashion on the national map. She clicked her presentation remote. The screen was supposed to show the partnership announcement she'd prepared. Graphics, numbers, projections. Instead, it remained on the Lux Collective logo for a beat too long. This deal, she continued, not yet noticing the technical delay, proves that Lux Collective isn't just another startup. We're the future of retail innovation. She looked directly at me then, her smile sharp as glass. I especially want to thank my family for their support, well, most of them anyway. A few nervous laughs rippled through the crowd. The screen behind her finally changed. The LED screen flickered once, twice, then displayed an email in crisp, undeniable clarity. From James Crawford, CEO, Meridian Retail Group. To Rebecca Miller, CEO, Lux Collective. Date, April 20th, 2024, 6:47 p.m. Subject, termination of partnership negotiations. Dear Ms. Miller, after comprehensive review with our logistics partner TransGlobal, Meridian Retail Group has decided to withdraw from all negotiations with Lux Collective, effective immediately. Our analysis revealed critical deficiencies in your proposed supply chain infrastructure, including 3 violations of international trade regulations, inadequate insurance coverage, exposing Meridian to 2.3M in potential liabilities, fundamental misunderstanding of interstate commerce compliance. We cannot proceed with a partner who lacks basic logistics competency. Regards, James Crawford. The ballroom fell silent. 500 people stopped breathing simultaneously. Rebecca stood frozen at the podium, her smile still plastered on her face like a mask she'd forgotten to remove. The microphone picked up the sound of her award hitting the podium, a sharp crack that echoed through the silence. Someone gasped, then another. Phones appeared everywhere, capturing the unfolding disaster. Rebecca's mouth opened and closed, but no words came. The confident CEO who'd commanded the room 30 seconds ago had evaporated. Her team at Table 12 sat in stunned horror. One of them, her CFO who'd been in Dubai for my birthday, had gone pale as death. He knew what this meant. They all did. The screen transitioned again, and if the first email was a dagger, the second was the twist. The second slide appeared with corporate precision. Meridian Retail Group and TransGlobal Logistics, proud to announce exclusive strategic partnership led by VP of Operations Sophia Miller, $150,000, consulting contracts secured, expanding to 5 major markets in 2024. Ms. Miller's expertise in international compliance and supply chain optimization makes her the ideal partner for Meridian's expansion. James Crawford, CEO. My professional headshot filled the screen, the one from TransGlobal's annual report that Rebecca had never bothered to look at. Beneath it, my title and a single line of text. 15 years of excellence in logistics management, $890 million in annual transactions. The ballroom erupted, not in applause, but in shocked murmurs that built like a wave. Every head turned from the stage to Table 3, where I sat perfectly still, hands folded, expression neutral. James Crawford rose from Table 18 and walked past Rebecca, literally stepped around her like she was furniture, and headed directly to my table. The spotlight operator, confused but professional, followed him, leaving Rebecca in sudden darkness. Sophia, Crawford's voice carried without the microphone, his hand extended across the table. Brilliant analysis as always. Shall we discuss the expansion timeline? I stood slowly, smoothing my Ann Taylor dress, and shook his hand with the calm professionalism of someone who'd been doing deals like this for 15 years. Of course, James. I believe the Portland market should be our priority. The entire room watched as Crawford pulled out the chair next to mine. The CEO of a billion-dollar retail chain, choosing to sit with the boring sister while Rebecca still stood abandoned on stage, award in hand, career in ruins. Marcus Williams, my CEO, raised his champagne glass. To Sophia Miller, TransGlobal's secret weapon. The toast rippled through table 3, then table 18, spreading outward like dominoes. Everyone except table 12, where Rebecca's team sat in shell-shocked silence. Rebecca stumbled off the stage, her Marchesa gown catching on her heel, tearing audibly. The Young Entrepreneur Award fell from her hands, clattering across the marble floor. No one moved to help her. The spotlight remained on table 3, where Crawford and I were discussing quarterly projections as if we were in a boardroom, not a ballroom. At the family table, table 7, which I only noticed now, my mother sat with her mouth open, face drained of color. Uncle Robert had his phone out, frantically Googling Sophia Miller Transglobal. Aunt Marie was showing him her screen, my LinkedIn profile, which none of them had ever bothered to look at. Senior VP Operations, reports to CEO, manages 45-person team. Emma had her phone up, recording everything for TikTok. Her expression was different from the others. She looked proud. A reporter from the Chicago Tribune materialized beside me, recorder in hand. Ms. Miller, can you comment on the Meridian partnership? I gave her the kind of measured response I'd perfected over 15 years of being professional while my family was chaotic. TransGlobal is thrilled to expand our relationship with Meridian. Logistics is the backbone of retail success, and we're committed to excellence in every market. What about your sister's company? She pressed. TransGlobal evaluates all potential partnerships based on capability and compliance. We maintain the highest standards for our clients. No emotion, no gloating, just facts. Marcus Williams stood then, commanding the room's attention. I'd like to recognize Sophia Miller, who's been instrumental in TransGlobal's growth. Her promotion to senior vice president will be announced Monday. The applause was genuine this time, the kind reserved for people who'd earned their success rather than Instagrammed their way to it. Rebecca rushed to table 3, mascara streaming down her face in black rivers, her composed CEO persona completely shattered. 500 of Chicago's business elite watched her desperate approach, phones still recording. Sophia, please! Her voice cracked, loud enough for nearby tables to hear everything. You have to explain to them. Tell them you're my sister. Fix this. I set down my champagne glass with deliberate calm. Rebecca, this is a professional event. Professional? She was nearly screaming now. You sabotaged me. You're my sister. Family doesn't do this. You're right, I said, my voice carrying clearly. Family doesn't abandon someone on their 40th birthday to party in Dubai. Family doesn't call someone boring and useless while spending $2,000 a night on hotel suites. The crowd was riveted. This was better than any keynote speech. Tell Crawford you made a mistake, Rebecca begged, grabbing my arm. Tell him to reconsider. You have the power. Use it for me. I gently removed her hand from my arm. I did use it. I used it to protect Meridian from $2.3 million in compliance penalties. I used it to ensure 20,000 retail employees have stable supply chains. That's my job, Rebecca. The one you called simple this morning on livestream. Crawford intervened then, his voice cutting through the tension. Miss Miller, Rebecca, your proposal was rejected on its merits, or lack thereof. Your sister saved you from bankruptcy and possible federal charges. You should be thanking her. The Tribune reporter was typing furiously. Tomorrow's headline was writing itself. But I'm your sister, Rebecca whispered, the last plea of someone who'd never imagined consequences. Yes, I replied. And for 15 years, that meant something to me. Tonight, you learned it should have meant something to you, too. My mother approached table 3 with the careful steps of someone walking on breaking ice. For the first time in my 40 years, Margaret Miller looked uncertain. The woman who'd always known exactly where everyone ranked in her hierarchy was suddenly lost. Sophia, her voice shook. You're a vice president? All this time? Senior VP as of Monday, Marcus Williams corrected helpfully. Your daughter runs operations for the third largest logistics company in the Midwest. Has for 5 years now. Mom's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, and something that looked almost like fear. But you never said. You never corrected me when I said you had no ambition. You never asked what I did, Mom. Not once in 15 years. You were too busy celebrating Rebecca's $2 million in revenue to notice I managed $890 million. The relatives were gathering now, drawn by the drama. Uncle Robert approached, his phone still displaying my LinkedIn. Sophia manages 45 people, makes $400,000 a year. 400,000 as of Monday, David Park added. Plus bonuses. Aunt Marie was calculating openly. That's more than Rebecca ever. She stopped herself, but the damage was done. All those family dinners. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. All those times I said Rebecca was the successful one. I was sitting right there, I said simply. Every Thanksgiving when you toasted Rebecca's success while I cleared dishes. Every Christmas when you introduced Rebecca as the CEO and me as the one who works in shipping. Every birthday, except mine, apparently. Emma had moved closer, still recording. Grandma, she said quietly, you really didn't know Aunt Sophia was a boss? The question hung in the air like an accusation. Because how do you not know your own daughter's career? How do you miss 15 years of achievements? I thought you were just... Mom trailed off. Boring? I supplied. Yes, I know. Emma's TikTok exploded like a digital bomb. By Sunday morning, the video had 2.3 million views and climbing. The caption read, When the boring aunt is secretly the boss who controls everything. Family drama, plot twist. Girl boss, Aunt Sophia is Anacon. The comments section was a masterclass in public vindication. Not the family flying to Dubai without her. Imagine calling someone boring who runs $890 million. The way she stayed calm while destroying her sister. Queen behavior. Aunt Sophia said, I'll show you boring, and delivered. This is why you don't underestimate the quiet ones. LinkedIn turned into a battlefield. The story hit the platform Sunday afternoon. Global VP exposes supply chain incompetence, saves Meridian millions. Within hours, it had 45,000 reactions and 3,000 shares. Business leaders were weighing in, and none of it favored Rebecca. The Chicago Business Journal ran a Monday morning feature. The Miller Sisters, a tale of two companies. They'd done their research. Rebecca's Lux Collective, struggling, debt-laden, surviving on promises. My Global division, profitable, growing, industry-leading. Rebecca's Instagram hemorrhaged followers, 15,000 lost in 48 hours. Her carefully curated image of success was being dissected in real time. Someone had screenshot her boring sister comments and created a viral meme. Rebecca, my sister is boring. Sophia, casually manages $890 million. Rebecca, shocked Pikachu face. But the most telling metric was professional. By Monday noon, 3 of Rebecca's investors had officially withdrawn. Her CFO resigned via email, citing irreconcilable differences in vision. The 20 employees she'd hired on promises were updating their LinkedIn profiles. Meanwhile, my LinkedIn connection requests jumped from 500 to 4,700. Recruiters from Fortune 500 companies were sliding into my DMs. Crawford had publicly endorsed me. Sophia Miller represents the kind of quiet excellence that actually drives business forward. Monday's emergency board meeting at Lux Collective lasted exactly 47 minutes. By 2 p.m., the decision was unanimous. Rebecca was removed as CEO, effective immediately. The board's statement was clinical in its brutality. Following the failed Meridian partnership and subsequent revelations about supply chain incompetence, the board has lost confidence in Ms. Miller's leadership. The investors didn't wait for the ink to dry. $3.2 million in committed funding evaporated by close of business. The term sheets Rebecca had been floating for months were withdrawn with formal notices citing material misrepresentation of operational capabilities. At Trans Global, the contrast was stark. Our stock jumped 7% on news of the Meridian exclusive. The board called an emergency meeting of their own to fast-track my promotion. Senior VP of Operations reporting directly to the CEO with a seat on the executive committee. Sophia, Marcus Williams said during the announcement, your handling of the Meridian situation demonstrated exactly why we've been grooming you for senior leadership. Discretion, competence, and the ability to make hard decisions even when personal stakes are involved. The compensation package was generous. Base salary from $275,000 to $400,000, plus equity options worth potentially millions. The corner office on the 47th floor with views of Lake Michigan. An assistant, a team of 45, and the kind of authority I'd been quietly wielding for years now made official. David Park sent me the final numbers. The Meridian deal would generate $47 million in revenue over 3 years. My consulting fee alone, $150,000, was more than Rebecca had ever paid herself as CEO. The Chicago business community took notice. Invitations to speak at conferences, join boards, mentor young professionals. 15 years of invisible excellence suddenly, blindingly visible. Rebecca's company website went dark Tuesday morning. Lux Collective was over. The family group chat remained silent for 5 days. 47 members, usually posting 50 messages a day, said nothing. The Dubai photos disappeared from Instagram. Mom's Facebook went private. The silence was louder than any apology could have been. Finally, on Thursday, Uncle Robert broke the dam. We owe Sophia an apology, a real one. The messages trickled in after that, each more awkward than the last. Aunt Marie, I had no idea you were so accomplished. Would love to have coffee sometime. Cousin Janet, always knew you were special. Just didn't realize how special. So proud of you. Second cousin Mark, hey, Sophia, I'm actually looking for a job in logistics. Could we talk? The invitations started immediately. Sunday dinner at Aunt Catherine's, Cousin Lisa's baby shower, Uncle Robert's 70th birthday party. Events I hadn't been invited to in years suddenly required my presence. Mom's text came last, a wall of words trying to rewrite history. There seems to have been a terrible misunderstanding over the years. I've always been proud of you, even if I didn't express it well. Dubai was last minute. You know how these things happen. We thought you'd be too busy with work to come. Let's put this behind us and move forward as a family. I turned on read receipts for the family chat. Let them see I was reading everything, but I didn't respond. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Emma was the only one who got it right. Her private message was simple. Aunt Sophia, you taught me something important. Never let anyone dim your light, especially family. Thank you for showing me what real success looks like. That one, I answered. You're welcome, Emma. Remember, power doesn't need to be loud. Thursday afternoon, Trans Global Security called my new corner office. Ms. Miller, your sister is in the lobby. She's been waiting for 30 minutes. Should we send her up? I looked at the clock, 2:47 p.m., the same amount of time as her WhatsApp messages that Saturday, 47. The poetry of it wasn't lost on me. Send her up in 17 more minutes, I said. An hour felt appropriate. When Rebecca finally entered my office, she looked smaller. The designer clothes were gone, replaced with a simple blazer from Target. The confidence that had filled every room was absent. She looked like what she was, unemployed, humbled, desperate. Sophia, she couldn't meet my eyes. I need help. I gestured to the chair across from my desk, the same power dynamic she'd created so many times, now reversed. I'll do anything, she continued. Warehouse work, data entry, anything. I have bills, Sophia. The house, the car, everything's being repossessed. I need a job. Transglobal has an application process, I said professionally. HR handles all hiring. You can submit your resume through our portal. But you're senior VP now. I agreed. The same way you could have invited me to Dubai. The same way you could have treated me with respect for 15 years. The same way you could have asked, even once, what I did for a living. She finally looked up, tears genuine this time. I was wrong. I see that now. I was so wrong about everything. Yes, I said simply. You were. The family lesson you taught me was valuable, Rebecca. You showed me that being underestimated is actually a strategic advantage. For that, I thank you. She left with an HR application packet. We both knew she wouldn't get the job. 6 weeks later, I attended Mom's 69th birthday dinner. Not because I forgave everything, but because I'd learned to engage on my own terms. I arrived at 6:30 p.m., knowing dinner was at 6. Late enough to skip the awkward small talk, early enough to be respectful. The family dynamics had shifted seismically. Conversations stopped when I entered. Chairs were offered immediately. Uncle Robert actually stood up, something he'd never done for me before. Sophia! Mom's voice was bright, artificial. So glad you could make it. Everyone, Sophia's here. The enthusiasm was performative, compensating for 40 years of indifference. I accepted it with the same polite distance I'd use with a business acquaintance. Rebecca sat in the corner, no longer the center of attention. She'd moved back in with Mom after losing her condo. The Marchesa gowns replaced with Ross dress for less. We made eye contact once. She looked away first. Emma hugged me genuinely. Aunt Sophia, I started studying supply chain management. You inspired me. That felt good. One authentic connection in a room full of revised histories. I have a dinner meeting at 8, I announced at 7:25, standing to leave. Already? Mom's disappointment was obvious. But you just got here. We haven't even talked about your promotion, or the new office, or… I know, I said calmly. But I have commitments. The meeting was real. Crawford and I were discussing the Portland expansion over dinner, but even if it hadn't been, I would have left. Setting boundaries meant maintaining them, especially when it was uncomfortable. Happy birthday, Mom, I said at the door. The gift is on the table. It was a digital frame, preloaded with photos of her and Rebecca in Dubai. A reminder that choices have consequences, wrapped in rose gold. 3 months after the gala, Rebecca sent an email that surprised me. The subject line was simple: learning. Sophia, I'm writing this from the library at Northeastern Illinois University. I enrolled in their Supply Chain Management Certificate program. 6 months intensive study. I'm also working third shift at a fulfillment center in Elk Grove, $17 an hour, but I'm learning what I should have known 3 years ago. Today we studied compliance regulations. I finally understand what you saved me from. If that Meridian deal had gone through with my plans, I wouldn't just be bankrupt. I'd be facing federal charges. I see it now. All of it. The way I dismissed your expertise while desperately needing it. The way I called you boring while you were quietly managing complexities I couldn't even comprehend. The way I built my identity on smoke while you built yours on substance. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for a job. I'm asking if once I complete this program, you'd be willing to have coffee. Just coffee. No business, no favors. Just two sisters, starting over with truth this time. I understand if the answer is no. I understand if silence is your response. You've earned the right to both. But I wanted you to know. I'm learning. Finally, Rebecca. I read it twice, then saved it to a folder labeled Maybe. Growth takes time, and trust takes longer. But perhaps, sometimes, people can surprise you. My reply was brief. Complete the program first, send me your transcript and certification, then we can discuss coffee. Real change requires evidence, not promises, she responded immediately. Understood, thank you for considering it. It was the first time in 15 years she'd thanked me for anything real. On the first anniversary of my 40th birthday, my real 41st, I sat on a terrace in Santorini, laptop closed, phone on silent. The Aegean Sea stretched endlessly blue, matching the clarity I'd found in the past year. The Meridian expansion had exceeded projections. 5 cities became 8. Crawford had recommended me for 3 board positions. TransGlobal had created the Sophia Miller Excellence Scholarship for Women in Logistics, $50,000 annually to someone who understood that quiet competence beats loud mediocrity. The family dynamics had settled into something healthier, if more distant. I attended major holidays for exactly 2 hours. I responded to group texts with emoji reactions. I sent gifts but declined invitations. Boundaries weren't walls, they were property lines, clearly marked and consistently maintained. Rebecca had completed her certification with a 3.8 GPA. We'd had coffee twice. Both times, she listened more than she talked. She was working as a logistics coordinator now, making $52,000 a year. She'd learned to find dignity in competence rather than performance. Mom still didn't fully understand what had happened, but she'd learned to introduce me differently. This is Sophia, my daughter who runs things at TransGlobal. Not accurate, but progress. Emma had switched her major to supply chain management. She'd shadow me next summer, learning that real power moves through spreadsheets and compliance documents, not Instagram posts. But the biggest change was internal. I no longer needed their validation because I'd finally understood something fundamental. Respect isn't granted by family blood or loud achievements. It's earned through consistent excellence and maintained through boundaries. Sometimes the best gift you can give yourself isn't revenge or even vindication. It's the quiet freedom of no longer needing anyone else to see your worth. You know it. That's enough. If you found your own power in silence, share this story. Someone needs to hear it today. This story reminds us, never let anyone dim your light just because it shines differently. If you're quietly building something great, don't let others' opinions make you doubt yourself. Success doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes it speaks loudest in silence. Share this with someone who needs a reminder of their worth. Subscribe for more stories about underdogs who won. And remember, boring people don't handle $890 million annually.